What's up, guys? It's the Arcitype from Cambridge, Mass. Reason reached out to me and asked me to, do a little demo of their latest chord sequencer that they just released, and cook something up and, make a little video for you guys. So let's check it out, dive in, and see what we can make. So jumping in, I pulled up a Rhodes sound that I kind of dug, like a nice smooth Rhodes, and applied the chord sequencer to it, and basically started kind of going through, checking out some of these. Honestly, just jumping right in and checking out some of these presets that they had ready, and there was one that kind of caught my eye. It was Piano Man. I wanted to kind of hear how that sounded with the Rhodes. I felt like it might work. And it was pretty cool. So I kind of messed around a little bit, brought the tempo down to about an 80 BPM, slow tempo, and this is what it sounds like. And it's like just a cool chord structure, with a couple little cool turnarounds and some interesting new voicings on the second pass, the second turnaround of the second four bars. And so I liked that. In checking out some of the tools, I was moving pretty quickly. I brought some of the velocity stuff down just so that it was kind of like gave it a little bit of a human aspect here, a little bit of loose timing, nothing too crazy because I wanted it to be pretty smooth, but I wanted it to have a little bit of a human nature to it. So and then I love this add root note thing in the bottom or the top. In my case, I did it on the bottom and brought the octave up one just because this was a little low. So kind of sat in a better register for the Rhodes. So when I heard this, I thought this was kind of cool. And for me, I play myself, so I don't really love the idea of just using a preset as like, well, this is my song. But what I thought would be kind of cool is to essentially use this as source material. So I added in another layer with this other sort of smooth synth, and added the same player to the same parameters, on everything, so that it's basically comping the same part, and then put one more layer in there, this piano sound, and did the same thing to that, and then as you can see over here on my mixer, I bust everything into a singular bus, so that it's all basically, right here, as one. And on that bus, just go to it here in the rack, enabled the record source button area there, so that I could essentially record it back into itself, on an audio track by way of setting it to the input to bus one. And so that's what I did. So let me just kind of get this situated here. Here it is, recorded into itself, all three layers as one now combined layer. And for my use, I saw this as essentially kind of like a sample, and so I exported it as a sample by right-clicking and going to the bounce clip to new samples. And it popped up, on my side, in my sample, contained sample section. And for me, I threw it into a mimic. I brought the tempo up to 96 BPMs, wanted to speed it up a little bit, and brought it in to a mimic and started kind of just chopping it up a little bit. I pitched it up four full step or four semitones. Did a little bit of filtering, a little compression over here, and that was pretty much it to it. And then just kind of like used the slice mode, and just kind of chopped it up and found a pattern for me that I thought kind of had like a cool new vibe to it. So this is what I came up with. Just had like a cool kind of, I don't know, me a nice high layer, filtered it a little bit more, and it kind of kept just building the beat from there. So I think this is kind of a cool way of like using these players to give you some source material that you otherwise might not, you know, come up with on your own, and some new chords that maybe you're not super familiar with, and give you some starting place. I mean, the blank slate, blank canvas syndrome is kind of a tough thing sometimes for us beat makers. So having something to kind of spark that inspiration is pretty cool. So yeah, check out Chord Sequencer and get creative with it. All right.